Now, for those of you who know, oh, by the way, Erin go bragh! Happy St. Patrick's Day, and that is the only Gaelic I know. It means Ireland forever. Besides that little bit of useless trivia, for those of you who know me, I am a writer, have been since I was 10 years old, and I started writing a series. Actually, I put it out over a span of different years of development of my characters' lives. First, I begin with junior high, and then they go into high school, and then they go into college, and then there'll be an aftermath of what they become when they grow up and become successful in the real world. And the initial series is called Junior Detective Agency, and it's like Nancy Drew meets Hardy Boys, and it may be a little bit dark at the beginning because I start with a ghost mystery right at the start, and I showcase one of my more spiritual characters at the beginning, and I try to showcase all my characters in the first 5 chapters, and then as I move it on, I call the next part of it Intrepid Detectives on a Mission, or it's IDOAM, and then I talk about their cases and the puzzles that they solve and the math and algebra homework that they assist in. And I just thought it was a lot of fun, and I wanted to introduce people to my characters, and here they all are, and I'll just give you a little bit of information about them. My main character is, of course, Brandon. I named him after a friend of mine, and Brandon is basically the son of a police officer, and he's his father's namesake. And then Tyrone is his younger brother, and Sue, she is a Chinese American, and she plays violin very well, and she's a very adorable character. I love her, and of course the real cute factor comes from Tyrone. Tyrone, he's the go-to who goes to the elementary school. I mentioned the elementary school in the duration of the series. Then I've got the token rich kid brat named Colin Postlewaite. And Colin Postlewaite, he's very impulsive, and he makes snap judgments and decisions that often get him into trouble. And he's the only ginger I have on the team. Go figure. And I've got Tiara, who is the younger sister. She's born, I forget which chapter I have that in it. Actually, it was the last chapter. It was the Postlewaite deed. Last part of that chapter, she's actually born. She's a little bit older in this picture. She's about 13 years old. She becomes useful later on in the series. And I've got, oh, by the way, Colin is a British import. Hans is my logical character. He is a living computer, and he's German, as if you didn't know from his name. He's a German exchange student, and he is also very superstitious. He comes in very useful in the Postlewaite case, and he's an integral member of the team. Without him, they wouldn't be able to do any really complex math, like finite math and trigonometry. Panay, he's a goth, punky character, and he steals Sue's heart in the Promise Ring case Debunked. And actually, he is a character with a heart of pure gold, and despite his looks, he really isn't a bad boy or anything like that. He's a poet, and he joins the team later on because he becomes curious with what they actually do, and he wants to be a part of it. Angie, she's my Latina fireball. She she can get irritated, but she really doesn't have a temper per se. She just tries to get people on task and keep people focused, and she's just a terrific character. Actually, I named her after a friend of mine, and she's a lot of fun to write for. And then Lynn, she's a Native American. She's got Cherokee blood, and she's the token spiritual character in the series. And I was actually going to mention relationships within this, but Brandon and Sue are an item. Lynn and Hans are an item. Colin and Angie, oddly, are an item. This happens later on in the series. They don't really make it very well known at the beginning. Morgan, she comes in at the very last. She's another punky character. She's artsy craftsy type and cheerleader. She's not an airhead at all. She's incredibly brilliant, and well, she always wears sunglasses even though she doesn't really need them. It's just part of her style. Morgan, she's introduced in the very last chapter of the Junior Detective Agency, and she and Hanai become an item. I really haven't decided who to pair Tiara off with. Tiara's too young to be dating in this series. But she meets someone later on. I'm just not really sure who I will be joining her with, to be honest with you. It's she's still in development, quite literally. She's only a year old in the last chapter. If you want to read the chapters of JDA, you can just go to fictionpress.com, and Intrepid Detectives will be, actually it's in progress. And I'm also writing a romantic comedy it kind of goes into really strange territory. It's like Freaky Friday, but a little bit different. It's called Wish Gone Awry, and I noticed that I've done this before in another script that I had in mind of a girl who develops the ability to change into different species of fish. So she's the equivalent of Beast Boy, only aquatic. And when she figures out that she can't escape from her holding place, and there's scientists that want to experiment on her, she doesn't quite like where she is. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that, but with Wish Gone Awry, it teaches a really good lesson, just like the other one I mentioned. It's the whole idea of being careful for what one wishes for. And I haven't quite finished it yet. I'm getting there, but it's a process, and I'm enjoying it so far. And there are other stories that I have written down on paper but not really typed out as of yet, because I've been really busy with school and taking care of Dad. And as you probably have been wondering, Dad is doing actually quite well, and as I said before, I'm cautiously optimistic, fingers crossed, that he is on the mend. And he went to physical therapy yesterday and did actually quite well, better than I had even previously thought. And I am looking forward to Friday and seen how much he can do and how well he can perform, and of course I will keep you updated on that. I've updated my thoughts on him on Facebook and Twitter, and I will continue doing that throughout the break. And of course, I was just thinking, looking at my calendar here, he's got other appointments that he has to keep in future. I know I'm taking up too much of your time and I'm talking too much, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and just thank you for your support, and again, happy St. Patty's.